This is my secret hack for making vlogs that actually get views. This is the Insta360 X3, but listen, it's not all about the camera. It's about how you use it to grab your viewers' attention, immerse them in your story, and keep them engaged. And here's the real tea. You don't necessarily need this camera in order to achieve some of the storytelling tactics that I really like to use this for. But I will say it does help a lot, especially if you are a solo creator and you don't have a camera operator with you. So let's get into it. In this video, I'm gonna share some secrets to making your vlogs more engaging and more click-worthy that will help you get more views, including how you can use this guy to achieve all that. So let me introduce you to this little camera and explain how I use it to make really awesome vlogs. And don't worry, I'm also gonna include how you can use these same tips no matter what gear you have to start improving your vlogs today. So this is a 360 camera. You'll notice that it has lenses on both sides. That's because it is filming all angles simultaneously, which means you don't really need to worry about where you're pointing it because it's literally always pointing everywhere, including up and down. This one in particular is the Insta360 X3, which, by the way, you need to know, I have been obsessed with this camera since last summer. I've been using it in all of my travel vlogs. It's just so fun to film with. So when Insta360 reached out and asked about partnering on a video on my channel, I was pumped. So thanks to Insta360 for sponsoring this video, but I did in fact buy this camera with my own money and I love it. So how exactly does this 360 camera thing work? Well, for one, there's the invisible selfie stick. So you'll notice that obviously there's a handle on this camera. You can extend it, and when you're filming with it, obviously you will see it in person. But the cool thing is, when you look back at the footage, the camera has automatically erased the selfie stick from the footage. So basically it gives this vibe like the camera is just floating in midair because obviously you're holding it via the stick, but you can't see the stick in your video clips. Now, because the camera is capturing literally everything, all angles at once, you can't include all angles at once necessarily in your vlog. That means in editing, you're gonna choose which direction you want to include from the entire 360 clip. I know that might sound intimidating, and that's definitely what kind of made me hesitant about getting a 360 camera in the first place, but Insta360 has a really intuitive mobile app and desktop app that I'm gonna show you in just a few minutes, and it's really easy to work with your 360 footage and just get the clips that you want. Now, like I've been saying, I've personally had a lot of fun using this camera in my travel vlogs. If you didn't know, in addition to this YouTube channel where I share social media and content creation tips, I also have a travel and kind of van life YouTube channel with my husband. It's called Katie and Dan in a Van, and we love using this Insta360 camera to capture shots that we otherwise wouldn't be able to. For example, when we're traveling just the two of us, we have very little footage of us together in frame because we're usually filming one another. But because of the 360 camera, we're able to capture a bunch of B-roll of us in the scene together, which is really unique because we don't normally have somebody else to film us. This also works really well for solo travelers, of course, because you can get a full clip of you moving through the scene without having to ask somebody to film you. In addition to all the 360 functionality, the Insta360 X3 also has 4K single lens mode, so you can switch over to just filming out of one lens, and then basically it's like a regular action camera. So it's nice to have that option when you need it. Okay, so we've talked a lot about how this camera works, but how can you make this camera work for you? In order to discuss this, we need to talk about arguably the most important skill set you can have as a vlogger, and that is storytelling. I've talked about storytelling tips for vloggers a couple of times on this channel, but today I wanted to share a couple tips that I think specifically connect to the way you film your videos. First point being, a well-executed vlog really brings the viewer into the environment with you. Here's the thing, a lot of the times when we are out in the world vlogging, we end up just filming our faces. And depending on the kind of camera you're filming with, you might have a relatively tight shot of your face. You kind of need to get a pretty wide angle lens if you want to be able to film like the environment and you in it. So you'll notice a lot of my vlogging clips on my travel channel, when it's us talking to the camera, it's pretty tight on just our faces. These kinds of shots don't necessarily make the viewer feel like they are there with you, because if you're close enough to the camera, it's like, well, we could be anywhere. We can't even see the background. One way to counter this issue is to include lots and lots of B-roll. So obviously spending just as much time, or more likely a lot more time, filming the stuff around you as you are filming yourself. So while you're speaking to the camera, you can splice in lots of shots of the environment to kind of bring the story together. And that is a good strategy. But ideally, to really make the viewer feel immersed in the story, you would show yourself in the environment as well. Of course, there's always the option to do shots like this, where you set down the camera on a tripod and then you walk past it, or you go and sit in the shot somewhere. This is something that I like to do quite a bit, you might have noticed. But what I love about the Insta360 is it gives you the option to have an even more dynamic version of this, which is the camera moving along through the scene with you. It almost feels like the point of view of somebody being there with you. Because it's so wide angle, it kind of simulates the ability to see everything in the scene and kind of look around in addition to seeing you. So it feels a lot more like being there in real life than just close-up vlog shots of your face. So to review, it's important that your viewer feels immersed in the story with you, and there's a couple of ways you can do that. If you don't have a 360 camera, then you want to capture as much B-roll of your environment as possible, and when you can, put that camera down on a tripod and get shots of yourself in the scene. And of course, if you are using the 360 camera, you can extend that selfie stick and walk along through your environment, filming yourself and everything around you. Another visual storytelling tactic that can really help your vlog stand out is by showing your viewer a unique perspective. Look, there are literally millions of hours of video getting uploaded to YouTube every single week. So if you want to stand out from that crowd and actually grow an audience, you need to do something a little bit different. Now, when it comes to sharing a new perspective, I feel like there's two main ways you can do this. There's the first, like, literal, physical, different perspective, like putting your camera in unique positions. Then there's also the metaphorical new perspective, which is approaching things in your own unique way. And I think both are really essential to creating a vlog that people will want to watch. Obviously, the Insta360 can help you get a unique, literal perspective by putting your camera in places that you normally wouldn't be able to, including getting shots that look like drone footage without needing to actually fly a drone, which is especially helpful if you don't have one or if you're somewhere that doesn't allow them. Something that we love to do is shoving the camera out a window where there's like a beautiful view, and then have us looking out that window. So it's like the camera's floating outside the building, capturing us experiencing that view. I think that's a really cool one. You can also get it really low to the ground, or you can put it up above your head while you're walking through a crowd. These are all cool perspectives that you don't normally get in real life, so being able to include them in a vlog really makes it stand out. But you can offer new perspectives not just through the visuals you're showing, but through the way you approach telling your story. I think it's really important that every vlogger figures out what their unique take on their niche or whatever it is they're talking about is. For example, there are thousands of travel vlogger couple channels out there, but our unique take with Arcadia and Dan in the Van channel is really sharing what it looks like to work remotely while we travel. Like, we aren't professional travel vloggers. It's something that we just do as a hobby. So we're balancing work while we're seeing new things. And I also think that we share a little bit of a kind of like nerdy perspective on things because we love sharing historical facts and learning about the places that we're in. We're certainly not the kind of like blue ass water adventure jumping off of stuff type of people. We're more like, hey, look at these Roman ruins. And that's just our unique take on it. And I think everybody needs to have their own unique way of approaching what they're sharing. At least if you don't want to just blend in with what everybody else is doing. No matter what your niche is as a vlogger, really think about how you can differentiate yourself from other people who are sharing similar content. Basically, give your potential viewers a reason to subscribe to you in addition to all their favorite creators. If you do something exactly like all of their other favorite creators in your niche, then they don't really have a reason to watch your videos. So if you can do it a little bit differently or put your own little spice on it, then they'll want to watch you too. So as promised, I want to show you how to edit this footage because I know that's a main concern for a lot of creators. I know it was for me. I thought, yeah, 360 footage would look really cool in vlogs, but is it going to take me forever to actually edit this? But when I saw how the Insta360 app works, that's what really sold me on getting this camera because it's just so easy to process your 360 footage. So using the app, you can really easily connect your camera to your phone and then you can start editing the footage directly in your phone. which makes it super quick if you want to like post this to your Instagram story or make a TikTok. Now that I'm connected to the 360 camera, I can just go ahead and select the clip that I want to edit. So I can tap on it and you can see it automatically starts playing. If I just tap on the screen, it'll pause and then I can see all of my different controls. To me, this is the coolest feature of being able to edit your 360 footage on your phone. If I click on the snap option, you can see that if I move my phone around, I can see a different view. So it's literally like my phone is in the same position that this camera was when I filmed the clip, and now I can pan around the scene and choose what I actually want to capture. And you can also pinch to zoom in and zoom out, so you can like choose how close in you want it to be. And now if I just press and hold, just like I'm recording an Instagram story, I can move my phone around and change the framing of the clip. That makes it so easy to edit this kind of footage. If you're unfamiliar with keyframes or any other kind of editing features like that, you literally don't even need to know how to do that. You can just move your phone around like this and you'll see different angles. Another really cool feature of this app that makes this so easy is the AI tracking. So you can see these two little dots that have popped up on me and Dan in this shot. If I tap on that, it will actually track me and make sure that I always stay in frame. So now that it's tracked, we can play back. And even as the camera moves, it's keeping me in it, which is really cool. Now, this is a really convenient way to edit your 360 footage on the go, get it up on social right away if you want, but generally when I'm filming for my vlogs, I do prefer to use the desktop editor, so let's take a quick look at that. So this is what the desktop app looks like, and you can achieve all the same stuff just without obviously picking up your computer and turning it around. So you can click and drag on the frame to readjust what you're looking at. You can also scroll out, you get the tiny world kind of view, or you can scroll in to kind of get a more natural field of view. It just depends on how wide angle you like it. And you can click and tilt up or down, so you can really position to see whatever you want to include in your vlog. When you like the position, you can just click on this little plus and that will capture all of the adjustments that you made in a keyframe. So this moment, the camera will be positioned this way. It's also important to note that both on the mobile app and on desktop, you can really easily switch between 16:9, so that's what I would use for YouTube, over to 9:16. That's obviously for, you know, TikTok or Reels or whatever. There's also other options if you wanted to make it a square or whatever. And that's actually one of the biggest benefits of a 360 camera, is that you can simultaneously capture content for both YouTube and social, and afterwards you can just decide what framing you like, and it works seamlessly for both. At the end of the day, a successful vlog is about so much more than just the gear you're using or the way you're editing it. It's about the way that you bring your viewer into your story. But as you establish these essential storytelling skills, it can be really helpful to slowly grow your kit of gear and start to use tools that can help you execute on that vision more efficiently and effectively. So if you're ready to take your vlog content to the next level, I would really recommend checking out the Insta360 X3 because I personally love using it for making my travel vlogs. So make sure you check out the link to the Insta360 store in my description. But if you're still in the stage of really honing those storytelling skills, then check out this video next, because I talked about why the majority of vloggers on YouTube will usually kind of flop, at least at first, and some suggestions of how you can really start improving your vlogs no matter what gear you have at the beginning to start getting more views and grow an audience on YouTube. So watch that video next, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!